Hi there, I'm Dave Householder, and I am blessed to be your Bible teacher here on the World Wide Well. Every single day, we are sending you encouragement, encouraging Bible teaching in a time of discouragement all around us. And nobody would say, hey, this is the best year ever, unless they're incredible optimists. But in any case, we're going to be looking today at Romans chapter 6, and it's Paul at his very best. Paul at his deepest, and we like to dive deep together. And if you want to look up hashtag dive deep together, one word on Google, you're going to find all kinds of stuff from the well. We'd love to have you follow us, engage with us, connect with us, and have us be your trusted source of encouragement during this discouraging time. So, anyways, Romans 6, Paul connects your baptism, if you've been baptized, and if you haven't, let me know and we'll work on it, with the death and the resurrection of Jesus. Going into the water and drowning to your old self and coming out a new self, and Jesus dying on the cross, going into the ground and coming out a resurrected, new, glorified body. Now, you might say, well, what difference does that make in my life today? Because I am looking at what I need to do today, and I am dealing with health and strength and aging issues. I'm dealing with not knowing if my vocation is correct. Am I doing the right thing with my time? Some of my relationships are a real problem. And sometimes there's a lot of red ink in my checkbook and not enough black ink. So, what does the death and resurrection of Jesus and your baptism have to do with any of that stuff? Well, a lot. And here's what I'd like to say. The early Christians, and of course that would include Paul, were absolutely smitten with the idea of the resurrection. Why? Why was this so important? It wasn't, oh, Jesus was raised from the dead. That means we get to go to heaven when we die. No, they weren't thinking that at all. Here's what they were thinking. They were thinking, if God can take a bloody, battered, beaten up, crucified, buried corpse and turn it into a glorified body of a risen Jesus, if God can do that transformation with that mess, then God can take my vocation, my health, my finances, my relationship, no matter how big, how bad they are. And sometimes those things are like a smoking crater in our lives. We face failure, we have problems and challenges, and bad stuff happens. But if God can transform a broken, bloody, dead Jesus into a glorified body, and people were absolutely convinced that this had happened because they saw him. John in First John says, hey, we saw him, we touched him, we were there, we experienced the whole thing. This is just, it's a historical fact. This happened, and a lot of people witnessed it, and it would stand up in a court of law with all the witnesses that saw this. And it transformed what people thought was possible in their lives. So in Romans 6, Paul says that ritual drowning of baptism and coming out a new person is a way of connecting by faith with Jesus dying, being beaten and dying, going into the ground and coming out glorified. In other words, there is nothing broken that God can't fix. Nothing in your life that is messed up that can't be glorified and transformed. There is a fantastic, exciting exchange going on between heaven and earth all the time. They're not separate way out here and it has to be bridged by some who knows what. Heaven and earth are connected, and heaven is behind everything that's happening on earth, and there's a spiritual reality behind everything that's physical, and everything I'm saying and you're hearing and your consciousness and my consciousness and God creating this amazing world to live in. It's all part of this same dynamic, crackling, exciting spiritual, physical reality in which radical transformation of broken things into beautiful things, beauty for ashes, the Old Testament says, is possible at any time. And people who live into that faith, and by their baptism, by their looking at drowning the old self, the broken self, the stuff that isn't working in your life daily, and thinking, what in my life needs fixing, and how can I invite God into my life to transform it into something beautiful? Some people are taking this COVID thing and transforming it. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a smoking crater, for goodness sake, in the middle of a year, and people are transforming it into beautiful things. They're spending time with each other where they weren't before. My extended family is having an extended family phone call every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock Pacific, and we've been doing it the whole time. And my mother is 85, and my brothers and their wives were all together connecting with each other like we've never connected before. The men's study, which you men are invited to, the men's Bible study on Monday mornings, is the best Bible study I have ever been a part of. And this happened because of COVID. It's coast to coast. Our Alpha course is reaching out to people in all four time zones. There's all kinds of exciting things happening where God is taking something awful, this whole COVID thing, and turning it into something beautiful. God can transform anything that is broken in your life into something beautiful. God works all things for good for those who love him. Romans 8, verse 28. And what Paul is talking about here with baptism is letting go of the brokenness in our lives and letting God transform it into something good. So take the most broken part of your life, whether it's your health, your finances, your relationship, your vocation, whatever it happens to be. It could be something else. Lay that on the table with God and say, Lord, can you drown that old broken self and bring forth something new? Bring forth something prosperous, something physically strong, a vocation with some energy to it, a relationship which is blossoming and healing. Ask God to do that, and he can do that. And that's the good news of the resurrection. God fixes broken things. Nothing missing, nothing broken is possible in our lives. Now, things are going to continue to break, and we're going to continue to face challenges, but there are no challenges that the Lord can't transform. That is the Christian worldview. That is the Christian worldview. We can make good things out of bad things. And sometimes the more bad things they are, the more God has to work with. That's the good news for today. And I will talk to you again tomorrow.